Did you hear that nice sound of the reel? Well, now I'll tell you what happened, and unfortunately it didn't go well. We were taking a walk with Julia. I had been away from Sardinia for a couple of months, a month and a half. So finally, we went sailing together, and as soon as we left the harbor, I saw a small school of fish. They didn't look like huge fish, and I couldn't quite figure out what. I grabbed the fishing rod, the one I always keep in the park. Then I put on a bait that looks like a little fish, and it held up really well. I cast it out, and after a second... And oh, I hooked a fish. It was making some scary runs. We spent 20 minutes on it, and in the end, we couldn't even record anything that happened. The fact is that after 20 minutes, the fish was finally getting tired like I've never seen it before. So why did this happen? The track probably touched under the hull of the sailboat, and in a second it frayed, and so the fish got away with all the bait. Now, since I want to give it another shot tomorrow, this time I'm not going unprepared, and I borrowed Tonio's camera, so let's see what happens.
Franco's boat. Let's greet him. So let's greet him too. Here it is. So you need to know that before leaving for Lazio, I had to do some work on the Sayonara's toilet, because the pipe got clogged due to years of not being maintained, and so it had been left a bit open. How are you? On. After such a long time, the engine needs to be run a bit, so everything gradually gets back to working order. They also put the boat back nearby. Luckily, this makes docking easier, even though we're missing someone over here.
But before I leave, I want to choose the right bait. This one might work for me, but it's a bit too small. And above all, I want to have 2 hooks. I'll choose this other one then, which looks like a mackerel and has given me a lot of great satisfaction in the past. And so with my heart in my throat, I slowly leave the harbor, hoping to see that school of fish again that made me dream yesterday. It's really cold this morning. It's about 3 degrees, but little by little, the sun will warm up the day. I immediately start to scan the area, but I can't see anything except for the occasional seagull nearby. Yet seagulls can sometimes make a difference. And while I'm sharing my excitement about heading out, at this point, I see something that doesn't convince me. Unfortunately, you can't see it from the GoPro, but I saw something jump, and it could be a fish. As soon as I cast, I see them, and the cast was difficult. Now I have to move the bait perfectly, hoping that the fish bites. Here it is. This one. With this gear, I can tell that the fish isn't small because it's managing to take line. The problem is that a boat is coming, and he has no intention of stopping. And this is really the most critical moment because the fish is going under the boat and I have to avoid that. So I have the engine put in neutral and I desperately try to bring the rod to the other side. But it's not easy because the sailboat is full of obstacles, and especially because the fish is pulling hard. It's a bit of a struggle. Nothing. Despite the tuna rod, I almost have a strong fish. And now I finally managed to reel in the fish. I'm exhausted because I've really tightened the drag a lot, and I'm pulling like crazy to keep it from going under the bottom.
No.
For a moment it seemed to me that it had come off, but no, it's still there pulling like crazy. And when the fish does this, you have to let it run. There's no way to stop it except to slightly tighten the drag, but don't do anything else. And finally, after a couple of runs, I managed to get the upper hand on this fish. Now, though, comes the hardest part of all. I have to manage to gaff the fish without making a mistake. The sailboat is beautiful, tall, and it takes a precise shot. I make sure the fish is tired, and when it comes...
Thank you, indeed.
It's an intense and brutal fight at the harbor. Look, that beast didn't get away, damn it. It does everything. Let's put it in. Oh my gosh, with the reel boat, it's super hard. I saw the bait, I threw it. But a fish is 10 kilos. Oh, incredible. Fantastic. Look how big it is. I saw the seagulls and I said, we need to cast up here. It was a fight to the last breath because it was going all over the place. In short, an animal. A fish of at least 10 kilos. And look how beautiful it is. Look, poor thing. It bled a lot. It was eating these little anchovies, see? Really tiny. In fact, I was just about to clean it with the pump, but look at that beast. That didn't get away. It ate the bait from Enrico. Fantastic, fantastic. Yes. And I know, unfortunately, the sailboat has one big flaw. You have to clean it immediately, otherwise the wood will always stay dirty. And after catching the beast, I decided to put up the sails to enjoy this ride. And finally, not hearing the noise of the engine anymore, which really got on our nerves. The most beautiful moment in the world. Are you ready? Finally. You see, the idea for today was to go catch a scorpion fish, a trace. One of these noble fish, however, ended up with Gigi, the beast, in there. Now, let's say I still don't have the fish finder because I only have the GPS. Anyway, I set the autopilot, which creaks like there's a mouse stuck in the gears. But no. I don't know why. It makes me so uncomfortable. So while we have one rod over here, one rod over there, and Gigi the beast. Here, you need to do an operation. When you catch a beast, you have to clean it right away. Otherwise, guys, the parasites go into the stomach and it becomes inedible. So the beast is really easy to recognize because you see it has this very particular texture and black spots that become less visible in adults. I'm here. This is a completely legal fish to catch, okay? Unlike the bluefin tuna, which doesn't have these stripes, it has these wonderful golden stripes on its belly, and the fins here are yellow, okay? So this is a skipjack tuna. You can catch it, but it's not very good to eat if you don't clean it right away. Now let's clean it. And while cleaning the tuna, I want to show you these parasites, which unfortunately are almost always found in tunas. That's why it's always better to get rid of them before eating. Look. He even ate a barracuda.
The skipjack tuna, just like the bluefin tuna, is a real racing fish, and its whole shape looks like a Formula One car.
Look at the fins. These actually retract into the body, so when the fish is hunting, it can swim as fast as possible. Also, the same thing happens with the other fin, the dorsal fin. This one also retracts perfectly into the body. I just ran into Federico. There he is. That zooms away. I showed him Gigi the beast back here. So I set up one rod for trolling. What about the other one? You need dozens of rods. You have the spinning one. That's a heavy spinning rod. Enough. He told me some things to put on. How will he position himself? I have a big fish.
I don't know, but let's just sit here, okay? This color! Actually, the intention isn't to fish, especially since I've already reached the maximum catch I can legally make today. So I just want to take a nice sail, then anchor at the Devil's Saddle, and eat a little piece of this mackerel, even though it's still too fresh. But who knows, maybe it's good with pasta. And the wonderful thing about Sardinia is that when it is in the rest of Italy, it is cold, it snows, and it rains. Here, it is already 15 degrees, and it is very nice. But above all, look at the color of the water, it's incredible. And here, fortunately, it's always like this. all year round. Being careful not to lose another finger in the winch, dear anchor. And finally I can start working on the tuna. I'll show you the Devil's Saddle, how beautiful it is. Look at the incredible water. What a wonder. Think that we are practically at the end of December. And now we go to cook tuna, tonacchione, these jobs. Unfortunately, it is much easier doing it on the boat rather than at home. And I get big tuna fillets so that I don't make a mess all over the kitchen table. This is the best part. And indeed, to cook the pasta, I decide to use this part, which is the fattiest and definitely the tastiest part of the whole fish. It should be eaten raw, but these fish. Unfortunately, it's necessary to freeze them because they're full of parasites. What I'll do with the others. PA. As for ingredients, of course, we always bring cherry tomatoes on the boat and the essential onion, which will be diced. Let's throw everything in a pan. I would like to do like Giorgione and put 50 liters of water in it. Oil and 26 kilo of lard, but it won't fit anyway. Guys, I have to tell you, it's incredibly hot under the Devil's Saddle. It's just perfect here. Plus, we have the salami hanging out there, which is actually the head of the tuna, with all that fat in the water. Let's hope a great white shark doesn't show up. Otherwise we can eat that too. Oh, just consider that this is only a small piece of the whole beast. I mean, really. The best part, though, is the belly, which is fattier. You take off the skin like this, not exactly like this. So he diced it. He practically cut it into cubes. Then this area is very rich in fat, and it's delicious. So I take this part of the fish off. These little cubes here. You can cook it a bit longer because being fatty, it doesn't get too tough. The rest of the fish, on the other hand, just needs to be seared, because otherwise the other parts will be very red. Did you see? They'll become super sticky. In the meantime, let's make the sauce. The water is boiling and soon we'll add the pasta. So here, guys, am I going in? Goodbye. There's a cake. There's a cake from the 1800s. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's a cake. I mean, that cake has been there for like a minute. But I swear it's been sitting there for 3 months, huh? Just kidding. To come the head. But no, but there are these amazing pottery. Come on, let's break out the Benedetto Cavalieri. Benedetto, the water is already boiling, but you have no idea how well you can cook on sayonara. I don't know why these burners are fantastic. So, since we had this tuna that didn't catch anything, we're going to eat it. Since nothing should go to waste, it was fresh, a bit frozen. So we also cut this into strips, along with the delicious cubes of tuna. And then you throw it into the sauce. It's really Calamarata. I've never taken you to eat on sayonara, but with me, I'll show you that it's really, well equipped. The tablecloth, the cutlery, everything is here. The sun is terrible. Look, it's hot. Sardinia is fantastic. You see, I have this huge table here. So here, the pasta is cooked, guys. Let me show you something cool that I found at the Cinesoni. It becomes the super cool colander. I have 2 sinks. I don't have them at home. I have 2 sinks. I recommend cold water because otherwise we'll make a mess. In the pipes of Sayo. Now there's a lot of Calamarata. It doesn't fit here, so we have to do this much. The fire is out like this. And the This oil is good. Let's go for a taste. Now, this part of the tuna was the best there is, just as I told you. Even though I love eating it raw, because in my opinion, that's the best way to enjoy it. Anyway, guys, all of this is truly priceless. Even if I didn't go on sayonara, for a long time, this is true happiness. And I wish all of you to realize your dreams one day, because there's a simplicity to these things. They're the most beautiful thing in the world. Leaving the port, catching the tuna. Today was all unexpected, and yet it happened. Now I'm enjoying this wonderful lunch, then maybe I'll go get 2 squid, because those are even better tonight. And we'll see each other in the next video. Hi guys, a big hug to sayonara and all of the Devil's Saddle. Guys, just a little off the record. I had left the Calamarata fence down, and even 2 scat. Not one, they came to eat. Shall we do a toast? A little ritual kiss.